our third speaker, Nura Aina. So today, we'll explore how globalization and culture shape English usage in two different regions, Singapore and the African American community in the United States, known for using African American Vernacular English or AAVE. So now, sit tight and open your hearts and ears for our discussion today. So let's begin with Singapore English. So, ladies and gentlemen, did you know that every student in Singapore must learn two languages in school? Well, today I will discuss one of the local impact of the globalization of the English language, which the Singapore bilingual policy. So first, before we start, I would like to provide you the timeline for this or a backstory of this policy. So, in the 1950s, most of the Singaporean schools use Chinese, Malay, and Tamil as their medium of instruction. So, during that time, the Chinese educated people start to grow concerned about the job prospect. So, they were trying to call for a multilingual education system. So in the 1959, the People's Action Party (PAP) comes to power, and the Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew promotes bilingualism in the December address. So the goal is to promote English and their mother tongues, which are Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil. So by 1960. Learning a second language became compulsory in primary schools, which to encourage communication across ethnic groups and preserve cultural values. So, in the 1965, the Singaporean gains independence, as you all know, and they emphasized on unifying multi-ethnic society through bilingual education. And in 1966, the second language education requirement are extended to secondary school as well. So now, today, bilingualism remains central to their education. As seen 2016 from the National Board of Singapore noted that schools still require the students to study both English and their mother tongue. So, what are the outcomes of this policy? Basically students show strong skills in English, which helps them do very well in their English language test. A report by Dixon in 2005, as you can see in the figure above, shows how different ethnic groups, Chinese, Malay, and Indian, perform in the O-level English and the general paper exam. So basically from this data, if you can see, the triangles are Malay, the squares are Chinese, and the circles are Indian. So, from this report, the data reveals that Chinese and Indian students consistently achieve high pass rates of about 85% to 90% in both tests over the years. So, they perform very well in the bilingual education system. But on the other hand, Malay students begin with a lower rate pass. In the 1991, around 50% passed the O-level English exam. However, as time grows, their results also improve steadily, especially after 1997. So between 1999 and 2001, there was a significant rise, and by 2001, the pass rate had reached about 70% for the Malay community. So, another important outcome of this bilingual policy is that the standardization of curriculum models. So basically, as English is their main medium of instruction, the government introduced the uniform textbooks and examination across school, which they use English as the main medium of instruction. So this is to ensure that all students from all ethnic backgrounds receive the same high quality education in English. The Ministry of Education of Singapore emphasized that key subjects in the primary education, which are compulsory for their curriculum, are English language, mathematics, and mother tongue language. So these subjects will eventually help the student to develop a strong foundation in literacy, numeracy, and problem-solving skills. So now, let's move on to our next speaker, Ain, who will discuss the globalization effect, how the globalization affect locally in AAVE.
So now let's talk about AAVE and how it works in everyday life, especially in local communities in the United States. So before we further ado, so what is AAVE all about? So AAVE is a real and valid form of English that has been used by African American for generations. So it has its own grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. So even though some people may call it slang or incorrect, but there's linguists say that it is follow-based language, which is the first point of the local impact AAVE. So for example, saying the sentence he be working, like for us we see that he be working he be working like maybe for us we see that it has a mistake in the like grammar or something, but in AAVE they say it doesn't mean someone who made a mistake of a sentence, but it has the meaning, the specific meaning, which is works regularly or habitually. So in local communities, AAVE is used in daily conversations, music like hip hop, church, storytelling, and even poetry. From that, it can help people to express their identity, culture, and pride. And at the same time, it's a way for them to connect with others and share the same background and experiences. But here's the problem, where AAVE is often seen as bad or broken English, because especially in school or job interviews, without we realize it, right? So this can lead to discrimination, where people might wrongly think a speaker is less smart or less educated because of how they speak. So it is obviously can create unfair situations for AAVE people, so especially for students who speak AAVE at home. Like they are expected to only standard English at school. Because of that, many people who speak AAVE they need to learn this code switch, which means they switch between AAVE and standard English language just because of that discrimination. But it depends on the situation itself. Depends on who they are talking to. For example, someone might speak one way with friends and another way with their teachers or bosses. But this is actually a way to fit in, but it can also be tiring and stressful. Plus, AAVE has a lot in common with Singlish in Singapore, where both are local forms of English that people are proud of, but both are also sometimes looked down on them by society or the government. So in the end, AAVE is much more than just a way of talking. It is about culture, history, identity, and persistence. And it is important that we need to respect that value all from English, not just the standard one. So that's all for parts of the first one. So I will pass to the next speaker, Aina.
So thank you, Ain, for your wonderful sharing. I think let's hear from Aina. What's your view on the local impacts for Singapore?
Thank you, Puza, for your introduction and the first point about the how globalization has impact on English language, especially in Singapore. So now I am going to talk about the local impact on how it influences the role of Singlish, which means Singaporean English, has emerged as a symbol of national pride and Singaporean identity. So, as we know that globalization is particularly began through the internet, media, and pop culture. culture. So, because of this thing, Singaporean has been introduced and exposed with a variety of English, especially British English and American English. With that, the rise of international TV shows, Hollywood movies or films, and even social media platforms like TikTok and YouTube, standard English become more dominant. So nowadays, being fluent in standard English become more crucial for anyone who are aiming to work in a global company or want to further their study in abroad. So as a result, standard English is now much more widely used and seen as the key for international success. However, alongside the global rise of standard English, Singlish or Singaporean English is a local form of English that mixes all the English words with Malay, Indian, Hokkien, and any other local language in Singapore. Because of that, it has grown even more significant than standard English. As we know that Singlish or Singaporean English is spoken in informal way, playful, and it is because of the deep connection with the Singaporean multicultural heritage. While the government initially discouraged the use of the Singlish, and even the Prime Minister in 2000 has launched the movement, which is the launch of the Speak Good English movement to encourage the citizen of Singapore to speak more standard English. Singlish do not disappear at all. However, and in fact, it has become more visible, especially in social media, advertising, and even comedy. Okay, so what is particularly interesting is that Singlish has become more expression of Singaporean identity and national pride, as I said so before. Many young Singaporeans view it as the reflection of their identity and their culture of individuality. So, far from being dismissed as bad English, Singaporean English now holds value as a unique linguistic features that differentiate between Singaporean speakers and other speakers of English in the world. So, the research by Hiramoto in 2023 points out that majority of the companies in Singapore is being common use the Singlish phrases or words like lah, can lah, or shop are used in light-hearted and friendly manner to relate to everybody life. And it is because those phrases and words can be connected with the local Singaporean citizen. So, for example, the advertisement by Long John Silver's has included the phrases no fish, shrimp, or also kenlah. The kenlah is the phrases from Singlish English. So, and the next one is the advertisement from McDonald's in 2016 that used shop and zen up, like literally the local slang of English. So, in short, globalization has not only strengthened the importance of standard English in Singapore, but it's also emphasized on the Singlish as being the Singaporean national identity and pride. So, Singlish also represents the essence of Singaporean unique multicultural identity, as it allows Singaporeans to express themselves in a way that feels more authentic and grounded in their cultural roots.
Thank you, Aina, for a very delicious insight. So, let's hear from what you can add to the globalization, how globalization affect AAVE locally.
Alright, so for often copied, like just now, and celebrated in pop culture. So this shows a double standard where the style is admired, but the speakers are not always respected. So in the end, AAD is a strong expression of cultural identity, but its speakers still face judgment and pressure to convert, just like in Singapore with English. So that's all.
So thank you, Ain. So ladies and gentlemen, for our next session is how globalization affect globally on both regions for AABE and Singapore. So starting from Aina.
Okay, thank you again, Lisa. Now, let us revisit Singapore again, but in a global point of view. So, let us talk about how English as a global language play a big role in Singapore's economic success and international links. So, let us start with a big picture where globalization has made English the main language in communication, daily life, and trading, and even business in Singaporean itself. So, because of that, Singaporean use of English has become a big advantage for the economic growth. So, today, as we know that Singaporean is the big hub for businesses. So, where many multinational business owner or even individual want to set up their business in the country. Based on the AsianBriefing.com, it is because of the use of English as the working language in that country. So this is the statistic made by Singaporean Ministry of National Development, where it shows that English is mostly used, which stated that 23% of the citizen or people involved in the business industry use English in their conversation or daily works. So English now, English proficiency now is seen as a key skill in Singapore. So furthermore, a study by Goh and Gopinathan in 2008 has highlighted that Singaporean strong English medium education system has actually prepared the citizen or even the students to become the strong workforce to defeat the global challenges. So this is why many international students who study there would rather stay in Singapore to work as being fluent in English open models in job market. So now, let us talk about employment, for example. After graduation, many international students, even our students from Malaysia, would choose to stay there and work straight in Singapore because being fluent in English is really important, because in meeting or interview or even doing the jobs like emails or proposal, English is really important. So it's you being fluent in English in Singapore, it is a big advantage for you as a career, for your career growth. So it's not only about getting a job. English also important for your promotion and career growth, since good communication is highly valuable. And for the last point that I want to talk today is the networking. In business, you need to know that it is not all about what you know, but it's also about who you know. So to build professional connection in Singapore, people need a strong communication skill, especially in English, whether it's speaking at events, pitching ideas, or even giving proposal for your business. So English now is a tool that connects people across cultures and countries. So overall, from a point of view, the global spread of English has made the language itself, which is English, an opportunity in Singapore, as English helps in economy, attract talents, and even connect Singaporean with the rest of the world.
So thank you, Aina. Now I want to talk how globalization has impact globally on AAVE. So actually, globally AAVE has had a surprising influence, especially even though in education. So one significant impact of globalization on AAVE is the increased exposure to African American literary works. So as we all know, and now we are learning to be an English teacher, we also been exposed to African American literary works like James Baldwin Sonnet's Blue, if you guys remember, and also if you guys know the poet Maya Angelou. So through stories like this, students not only improve their language skills but also gain deeper insights into African American culture, history, and experiences. The International Center for Language Studies in 2024 highlighted that exposure to AAVE promotes cultural understanding, empathy, and appreciation to diverse voices in literature. Understanding AAVE foster a great appreciation for African American culture and its contribution to American society. Additionally, since AAVE is spoken by a large and diverse population, knowing the key features from this dialect can enhance communication with a broader range of people. So as you can see here, this is some quote from the novel. They use the African American slang, which is ain't. So that's why which lead us to know that this type of variety of English exists in the world. So I think next let's hear from Ain on the second global impact for Singapore.
So now let's see the second impact of global Singapore. Well, in many parts of the world, including in Singapore itself, English is seen as the key to academic success and professional opportunities. So this is what we mean by the educational prestige, which is the second point of the global impact. So in Singapore, even though there are four official languages, which is Malay, Mandarin, Tamil, and English, English is the main language used in schools, universities, and exams. Subjects like science, math, and even history are all taught in English. So doing well in school depends heavily on being fluent in English, but this isn't just a local choice, it is part of a global trend. So around the world, English is the language of international education. Many of the world's top universities like those in the US, UK, and Australia teach in English. So students who speak and write standard English well will have a better chance of studying abroad, winning the scholarships, and also get opportunities to land in international jobs. In Singapore also, their parents often invest and enroll their children in English-speaking preschools and tuition classes to get them prepared early to get their prior knowledge. So this shows how much value is placed on English as a prestigious language type to success and upward mobility. However, this also can create pressure on their students, their children itself, who may speak other languages or dialects at home because they are normally usually using the language at home, right? Like Singlish, Mandarin or Malay. And then some students feel like they have to put aside their home languages to succeed in school. So this can lead to a situation where standard English is seen as proper or educated, while local varieties like Singlish are seen as less serious or even wrong. So while English offers global advantages in education and career, it can also cause inequality or language bias if local languages and identities itself are not respected or supported.
So thank you, Ain. Do you want to add more, Aina?
I would like just to add something about the effect of English language in AAP globally. Because as you know, how globalization has made AAP culture. You may know artists like Missy Elliott, Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj. They do not just sing the song, but also tell story about with their voices and languages. So I think, in short, globalization has spread AAVE across the world, and instead of being just a local dialect, it became a global voice of youth and identity.
So thank you, Ain and Aina. So in conclusion, for both regions, English is more than just a language. It's a symbolized identity, culture, and history. So in hope that with this have realized the impacts, we should respect all kinds of English in the world.